This video is a presentation of Group J's final project, a complete analysis of the company Fluidra. We will present the basic findings of our final paper, which include the financial analysis, external and internal analysis, the effects of COVID-19, the company's business model, and finally our recommendations. So we'll start off with a quick introduction of the company. Fluidra is a Spanish multinational company. However, it is present in more than 45 countries and count more than 5,500 employees. Its mission is to create the perfect pool and wellness experience. That's why it operates in the pool and wellness industry, where it is actually the leader, accounting for 80% of the market share. Right now, they have many brands, some of which are the most recognized in the sector, Zodiac and Polaris, and any other brands that you can see here on the slide. The company strives for excellence. As I said previously, that is their mission, and their whole strategy focuses on it. This is why they have a wide range of products, equipment, and services so that they're able to fulfill any need. They're also pioneers in innovation and have around 1,200 patents worldwide. Now that we know a bit more about the company, we thought it would be relevant to analyze its financial position. So the company has quite a good liquidity position. Its ability to pay short-term debt is strong. To maintain that position in a more conservative approach, however, Fluidra would need to increase its cash in banks. Fluidra also has a good leverage position, especially since the company has increased its share capital by 320% in 2018, making creditors very well protected in case of insolvency. However, it is important to precise that the company has so many patents that intangible assets account for 64% of total assets, meaning that in a more conservative approach, the solvency position of the company isn't really as strong as it looks. Fluidra is not very efficient in terms of its operations. Its AR, AP, and inventory turnovers are very low, meaning that the firm is highly inefficient when collecting credit issued by customers. In terms of profitability, it is important to note that the profit margins in the industry in general are very low. Fluidra, for example, has a net profit margin of 0.64% and a return on equity of 0.14%, which might find itself in a tough position to attract new investors. Also, return on assets are quite low at 0.07%. However, we have seen that Fluidra is bouncing back from a negative year in 2019 with increasing profit margins since then. So it seems to be on the right track. So now let's move on to analyzing all the external factors that affect the company. So we'll start off with the basic pestle analysis, where we've concluded that political-wise, Fluidra operates in 12 different countries, so it needs to follow the regulations regarding community and commercial pools in each country and region. Furthermore, the COVID-19 situation is triggering many changes in political regulations that the company will have to look out for. Regarding the economy, the main threats are that demand for luxury goods like pools will decrease, and so will market growth, and there might be a change in taxation policies depending on the results of the US presidential elections. Social-wise, the threats are due to the consequences that COVID-19 has created, meaning changes in buying habits, decrease in demand for residential pools, and changing consumer habits. Regarding technology, sustainability and preservation will be the main needs customers are currently expressing, which is urging the company to develop R&D projects on new dynamic pool systems, for example. Legal-wise, well, due to its worldwide presence, the company needs to follow the different legislations of each country. And environmental, that is basically climate change, because it would have a great impact on the company and the industry in general, because the time of consumption of pools will increase if it gets hotter, and consumers will also expect pools to be more environmentally friendly. Now that we've understand the environment the company is competing in, we'll move on to analyzing the actual market. So in this case, the water treatment and equipment market. In this market, competition focuses on product differentiation. Due to the low margins in this industry, profits are mainly gained through innovative and high-quality products, which is why they are the key success factors of competing companies. So Fluidra is the market leader. It's the only company present all around the globe, so it's achieving greater scale, meaning greater sales. They take advantage of the economies of scale, their strong vertical integration, and global integration to further improve their competitive capabilities. Looking at its main competitors, we have Beza, which is emphasizing on cheaper water treatment solutions, which is basically due to their economies of scope as they compete in many other industries. There's also Productos QP and Hayward, which have just started a strategic alliance in order to gain a competitive advantage over Fluidra. So in general, the rivalry in the industry is moderate. Even though Fluidra covers both water treatment and equipment, which increases the chances of rivalry, the company is able to maintain a big market share compared to others, and sales are quite stable, as it is in the maturity phase of its life cycle. However, we cannot only rely on competitors' analysis in order to conclude about the industry's attractivity. This is why we also have analyzed other driving forces in the industry. So first, looking at buyers, we can say that the company is leading the industry and is able to establish a good level of differentiation with its competitors by offering high-quality products, which are constantly up to date with the innovation in the industry. This shows that consumers do not possess a very high bargaining power, especially against Fluidra, because the company offers the best product at acceptable prices. And to add to that, switching costs are extremely high for consumers, and the process is quite complicated. There's also a low threat of backward integration, as not many people will construct their own pool or wellness centers. And Fluidra is leading the market, it has many customers, which theoretically implies that the latter will have little bargaining power. If we look at substitutes, the threat for Fluidra is low to moderate. As main substitutes, we've identified natural, eco-friendly swimming pools and hot tubs that directly compete with Fluidra's product and its strategy. Natural ponds are not very attractive because there's a lot of maintenance and the wellness experience is not really the same. However, hot tubs might pose a bigger threat. It serves the same purpose as Fluidra's pools and it's usually cheaper than buying a pool. However, consumers' preferences and demand protect them well from hot tubs taking considerable share. Moving on to the barriers to entry. So as we mentioned previously, the company vertically integrated its suppliers, and so it can take advantage of this by implementing economies of scale and scope. Vertical integration and economies of scale are two very strong barriers to entry for any potential competitors because through this strategy, Fluidra reduces substantially its production costs, making it more competitive. Also, Fluidra is present in many different sectors and all around the world, but 90% of its activities are focused on the pool industry. It has also acquired companies present in different geographical markets to maintain and strengthen its position as market leader. So the industry also requires a lot of investment beforehand and is already highly competitive because it has been active for a long time. The market is also not very growing at the moment, so it wouldn't be a great incentive for new entrants. And finally, Fluidra acquired companies that produce complementary products such as pool cleaning robot company, Polaris for instance. Therefore, trying to enter the market by producing pools or complementary products for pools would be really challenging for new entrants. And then finally, if we look at suppliers, as we've seen on the website, they present themselves as, the company, Fluidra, presents themselves as a supplier of all components except for concrete and water. Therefore, by operating in such a manner, they managed to significantly decrease the bargaining power of suppliers and their impact upon the business, because overall, the company was able to replace suppliers by producing all components themselves. On top of that, Fluidra has also developed a brand that acts as the main suppliers to other companies that may be competing in the market. So overall, we could say that there's a clear advantage of the company in the market regarding supply control, and that this level of vertical integration assures the company keeping a very good level of market share in the future. So now that we have a clear idea on the external factors affecting the company, it's time to analyze all internal strategies. So starting with resources and capabilities, we see that a big part of Fluidra's increase in market share is due to its strategic resources and capabilities. Actually, Fluidra has a very strong marketing and logistic capabilities that enable the company to have a specialized distribution network for each different business units. On top of that, the company is constantly reconfiguring its capabilities, especially in the product development department. It's continuously analyzing its products and conducts different market research to make sure that they're able to deliver products that respond to changing consumer needs. The company also makes it clear that it wants to be the leading company in the industry and mentions innovation as the main tool to get there. That's why the company is investing a lot into R&D projects to create valuable, rare, and inimitable resources that will be able to give the company a sustainable competitive advantage. And finally, regarding human resources, Fluidra is increasing its employees and creating new jobs inside the companies every year. It's providing employees with constant training in order to increase specialization. This makes the human resources a very valuable resource for the company and difficult for others to imitate, since training is quite costly and they are tailored for Fluidra's employees. Regarding the company's value chain, as we mentioned earlier, Fluidra's business model vertically integrates R&D, production, logistics, marketing, and services. This model allows the company to diversify risks, optimizing resources, and creating significant entry barriers to competitor. This is why research, development, and innovation remain one of the cornerstones of Fluidra's future strategy. We also thought it would be interesting to add a section regarding the effects COVID-19 has had on the company. So Fluidra could have been heavily affected in a negative way because their products could be considered as luxury goods. Having a pool and maintaining it is not something everyone can assume. Fluidra works with spas and Olympic pools, which obviously during lockdown were closed, but they also have some brands that sell products for water maintenance of private pools and others that sell above ground pools. During lockdown, the value society gave to private outdoor spaces and private pools actually increased. Even though this is a luxury good, people were willing to invest more on it than other things. There was sort of a cocooning effect due to the lockdown. So sales for private pools, water maintenance, and above ground pools increased so much they even broke stocks and had to tell some clients they could not deliver. Those who already had pools invested in them due to the increased amount of time people have stayed at home and the decrease in the amount of trips made due to, again, to the cocooning effect in society. The value given to having a private pool definitely has increased due to the pandemic, and therefore, although COVID affected some of the company's brands, others, like private pools, water maintenance, and above ground pools, actually skyrocket. We can now recap all of what we've said in this video and Fluidra's business model. Basically, its clients are B2B, the business to business. Fluidra doesn't sell to the end customer but to trusted retailers. It focuses on long-term client relationships. Its key resources are its intellectual and physical, so basically the innovation. Its key activities in the pool industry. The cost structure is the economies of scale and vertical integration. The channels, well, Fluidra distributes to customers, prescribers through their own distribution channel. Their key partners are suppliers and brand portfolio, and they bring value with their newest performance, design, and convenience. So now that we've analyzed everything, our group has come up with 3 main recommendations for the company. So the first one is a platform transition. Today there's an increasing number of platforms, smartphones, apps concerning wellness and health tracking that have started appearing and are taking over the wellness industry. When consumers go to wellness centers, the power of technology and networks allow these platform apps to offer many services, including weight tracking, BMI index, tailored fitness exercise, and much more. And these are very convenient for clients who have heavy schedule and no other point of data to collect this information. Therefore, a recommendation for the company would be for Fluidra to expand their business into developing a spa app, in addition to the pool apps they already have, that would target new customers, but will also add a service to existing customers of the spa, which use Fluidra's products, by linking the platform to clients who own a Fluidra pool or who are registered to spas and wellness centers offering Fluidra's products and services. So this network would keep them updated concerning their interaction with Fluidra's products, concerning, for example, the pH of the water pressure, the bubbles of the jacuzzi, the temperature, and all of these. This would allow them to maintain their market share and innovative reputation in the market. Our second recommendation focuses on vertical integration. While it does have numerous benefits like achieving economies of scale, maintaining quality control, protecting processes, and much more, it can also have a lot of risks. To begin with, it requires a large investment to integrate the whole supply chain. Issues arise if new technologies emerge, thus changing the whole machinery and process is very expensive. This reduces the company's flexibility. A suggestion that we would have to avoid these technological obsolescences and therefore reduce the vertical integration risk would be to lease machinery. This way, when out of date or when a better and more efficient technology appears, the cost of changing is not as high. And our third and final recommendation regards patents. Patents gives a exclusive access to specific technology or product to a company. Thus, they're a source of sustainable competitive advantage, which is what every company is actually looking for. But it has to be kept in mind that patents have an expiry date. They usually last for a couple of years, and the company who creates it focuses on the potential that this patent can provide, since they are the only ones allowed to release it on the market. It is very important to focus on what the patent has to offer. However, the company cannot forget to innovate. As mentioned, patents do not last forever, and the value of this technology will substantially decrease once the patent runs out of date, as all of its competitors will then have access to this new technology. As a consequence, Fluidra should find a balance between continuous innovation and patent exploitation in order to make sure that its competitive advantage is sustainable. And now our presentation has come to an end. On behalf of Group J, I'd like to thank you for listening.